He stood tall, holding a coffee cup in his hand, and exuded an indescribable charm. The moment our eyes met, the corners of his mouth turned up and he smiled. This smile was like a good remedy, instantly dispelling my inner tension. "How? Long time no see. Do you remember me?" he said half jokingly. "Of course," I responded a little shyly. "How could I forget? I just saw your photo." We smiled at each other and ordered coffee. At first, our conversation was like old friends who had not seen each other for a long time, relaxed and pleasant. But as time went on, my inner excitement became stronger, and my curiosity about him also prompted me to want to know him more deeply. Holding the coffee and sitting at the outdoor table, John looked at me with bright eyes and asked, "I'm curious about your recent life and your marriage life." For some reason, facing his inquiry, I had an urge to confide. "To be honest, the recent days have been a bit dull. Everything is going according to plan, and I am eager to try something new, but I was a little scared." John nodded seriously and said, "Don't be afraid. Sometimes, people have to take risks bravely to truly embrace life, especially when you are eager for something." His words were like a fire, igniting the long-suppressed passion in my heart. I took a deep breath and asked with courage, "Have you ever had a similar experience?" John's face flashed a mysterious smile, which made him look more charming. "I have also had some key moments in my life. At that time, I knew that I had to be in the right place at the right time. Sometimes, chasing those taboo things is more exciting." Listening to his words, my heart was surging. Maybe he and I have the same feeling. Maybe you are right. I am indeed a little confused in this regard, I said softly. He stared at me and slowly said, "I have a suggestion. Why don't we try something interesting together? Life is short and we should enjoy it to the fullest." At this moment, all my inner defenses collapsed completely, and John's courage deeply infected me. "What do you mean?" I asked with a trembling voice. John pointed to the coffee cup on the table and said, "For example, go on a date, explore new places, step into those unknown areas together, and have a big adventure." After a brief thought, I made up my mind. "Okay, let's start this new adventure." Hearing me say this, the light in John's eyes became more dazzling. "Great. As a first step, I will take you to one of the best bars in the city, where we will be more comfortable." After drinking coffee, we got up and left. I was full of entanglement and relief. The guilt of betraying my husband and the excitement of being with John were intertwined, but at this moment, I just wanted to immerse myself in the present. When we arrived at the bar, it was very lively, and dynamic music filled every corner. People danced to their heart's content on the dance floor, and laughter and joy came one after another. "This place is great," I couldn't help but exclaim. John smiled and responded, "It's always fun here. Come and dance together." Driven by the music, John and I walked into the dance floor, and our bodies swayed in harmony with the rhythm. His hands gently rested on my waist, and I could feel the warmth of his palms. This intimate contact made my inner excitement reach its peak, and an unprecedented sense of happiness surrounded me. While dancing, John's fiery eyes always followed me, and that look was like a flame, igniting the passion deep in my heart. I smiled and approached him, saying, "I will definitely have a lot of fun tonight." John tilted his head slightly and responded, "This is just the beginning. You have to take risks in life." His words made me more determined, and made me look forward to spending time with him more and more. As the dance progressed, the attraction between us became stronger and stronger, and every inadvertent touch made my heart beat faster. Immersed in this wonderful atmosphere, all kinds of bold scenes emerged in my mind involuntarily. Suddenly, John leaned close to my ear and whispered, "If you are ready, we can make tonight more special." His voice was low and magnetic, instantly igniting the desire in my heart. "Okay, let's get started." I responded without hesitation. At this moment, I was ready and willing to do anything for this excitement and freshness. We avoided the crowd and quietly slipped out of the back door of the bar. In the night, my heart was full of curiosity and a little uneasy. I didn't know what was waiting for us next, but the strong desire to explore made me move forward courageously. John looked at me with a smile, as if he was enjoying the excitement brought by the unknown with me. Obviously, this adventure has deeply touched my soul. Just then, the phone suddenly vibrated. It was a message from my husband. "Where are you? Should I go home?" In an instant, fear surged in my heart, but soon, the excitement inspired by the adventure overwhelmed it. I looked at John and asked, "Can we stay a little longer?" My husband urged me to go back, "But I don't want to end tonight so early." John looked at me firmly and said, "If you want to continue this adventure, we have to plan it well, or meet again tomorrow night." After thinking for a moment, I replied to my husband, "I have to stay out for a while, and go back in half an hour." After sending the message, I turned to John and said, "I have to go home today, but let's meet tomorrow." John nodded, smiled and suggested, "Okay, how about having dinner together tomorrow?" "That sounds great. Then let's set it at 7 o'clock. Send me the address." I responded happily. "Okay, I can't wait," John replied. On the way home, I couldn't calm down for a long time. Every moment I spent with John kept replaying in my mind. In contrast, my marriage life with my husband seemed so dull and boring, which made me wonder what was wrong with my marriage. When I got home, my husband came up to me with a worried look on his face. "Why are you back so late? Where have you been?" His voice was full of tension. "I went out with my friends to have some fun." I tried to suppress the guilt in my heart and said. My husband took a step closer and said, "You have to be careful. You always come home late recently. What are you doing?" His question made me feel a little unhappy, but John's figure appeared in my mind at this time. "I just want to go out and relax for a few hours." "Why are you so worried?" I responded with a little provocation. My husband said a little angrily, "I need to trust you, but it's getting harder and harder recently. You said you went out to have fun, but I feel like you are doing something behind my back." In this way, our quarrel gradually escalated. Anger and disappointment intertwined in my heart, and I felt that communication with my husband became more and more difficult compared with the passion and excitement when I was with John. His words seemed so pale and powerless. The quarrel lasted until late at night. Lying in bed, I looked at the ceiling, feeling confused. At this time, John's warm smile and tomorrow's date plan kept circling in my mind. I realized more and more clearly that John's appearance was not just a small episode in my life. The excitement and adventure he brought might completely change the trajectory of my life. The next day, when I woke up in the early morning, excitement and anxiety were intertwined in my heart. The scene of quarreling with my husband was still vivid in my mind, but it did not reduce my expectation of meeting John at all. All day long, I was absent-minded in the meeting at work. My mind was full of the scene of tonight's date. John's smile, his voice, and the night we danced together kept reappearing in front of me. I kept imagining where we would go tonight and what interesting things would happen after get off work. When I got home, my husband still looked at me with worried eyes. "You are so late again. Where did you go?" "I went out with my friends to relax," I answered perfunctorily, trying to hide my guilt. My husband sighed and said, "I understand you need to relax, but you have to be careful. I don't know what you've been busy with recently." This time, I didn't back down and said firmly, "I know, I will handle it. It just takes some time." After hearing this, my husband said angrily, "If you want to change the current situation, we have to work together. But you are like this now. I don't think you want to." I couldn't help but retort, "You have to change your attitude towards me. Our life is too monotonous. I want to change." The quarrel escalated again. Finally, my husband closed his eyes helplessly, took a deep breath, and ended the quarrel. Lying in bed, My mood could not calm down for a long time. John's figure became clearer and clearer in my mind. I longed to see him quickly, to feel the long-lost passion and vitality, and also wanted to find out whether my marriage with my husband could be saved. Finally, night fell. I carefully selected a skirt, trying to put aside the haze brought by the quarrel with my husband, and walked towards the agreed place happily. From a distance, I saw John standing at the door waiting. His figure looked particularly charming under the light. "Welcome, nice to meet you," he said with a smile, and that smile seemed to have a magical power, instantly dispelling all the troubles in my heart. "Thank you for waiting for me." I walked to his side and responded with a smile. At this moment, the attraction between us became stronger and stronger, and the night seemed to become our protective color, quietly wrapping up this special feeling. John told me that he chose a special place, a quiet place outside the city. Sitting in the car, the scenery along the way flashed by, and my attention was all on John beside me. Every minute and every second with him made me feel extremely safe and special, as if all the pressure had disappeared. We came to a small lake outside the city, and a pavilion decorated with lights appeared in front of us. "This is the dinner place John prepared for us. This is the place I picked for you. I hope you like it." John looked at me gently and said, "The beautiful scenery in front of me intoxicated me, and I was moved and happy. It's so beautiful. Thank you. You are really thoughtful." The moonlight sprinkled on the calm lake, sparkling, and set off against the swaying candlelight in the pavilion, creating a romantic and mysterious atmosphere. We sat opposite each other. John poured me a glass of wine, raised the glass and said, "Cheers to our new beginning." I happily raised my glass. At that moment, I could really feel that the connection between us was becoming closer and closer. In this beautiful atmosphere, we talked freely, sharing each other's lives, dreams, and even those secrets hidden deep in our hearts. Every story of John attracted me deeply, making me completely immersed in it, temporarily forgetting the conflicts between me and my husband. Unconsciously, the night was deep, and the surroundings became more and more quiet. Only the breeze gently blew across the lake, rippling the surface. John's eyes became more and more gentle. He slowly approached me and whispered, "Tonight, I want to make this moment more memorable." As he said, his hand gently stroked my cheek, his eyes full of affection and desire. Under his gaze, my heartbeat accelerated sharply, and my body couldn't help but move closer to him. In this quiet night, by this beautiful lake, our lips gradually approached, and finally intertwined. This kiss was full of passion and love. I could feel his strong desire for me, and I was completely immersed in it. His hand slowly slid over my shoulders, and hugged me tightly in his arms. Our bodies fit more and more closely, and our heartbeats intertwined, playing a love movement. In this moment of selflessness, all reason and restraint were thrown out of the sky, and we enjoyed the warmth and love given to each other. As the emotions heated up, John's breathing became more and more rapid, and his hands began to wander over my body. His movements were gentle but full of power. His touch spread throughout my body like an electric current, making me moan softly. I was no longer reserved, and I hugged him tightly with both hands, responding to his enthusiasm. We were on the bench in the pavilion, being honest with each other, and releasing our deep desire for each other. At the moment of skin contact, I seemed to be in heaven. All the troubles had disappeared, and only the man in front of me, who made my heart beat, was left in my heart. After the passion, we lay in each other's arms, quietly watching the twinkling stars in the night sky. At this moment, my heart was extremely calm, as if I had found the part that was really missing in my life. I knew that from this moment on, my life would change completely, and I was ready to meet all the unknowns and challenges in the future. When the first rays of sunlight in the morning sprinkled on the lake, I slowly woke up from my sleep, looking at John sleeping beside me. I recalled every detail of last night, and my heart was full of happiness and satisfaction. The haze brought by the quarrel with my husband had long dissipated, replaced by expectations for the future. I knew that this night would be an important turning point in my life, and the story between John and me had just begun. I knew that what was waiting for me after returning home might be my husband's questioning and confusion, but at this moment, my inner peace gave me the courage to face everything. I decided to take this step bravely to pursue my own happiness and freedom, no matter what difficulties and challenges I would encounter in the future.